portion of this video is sponsored by EcoFlow. The Propel Endeavor series of electric skateboards is vastly different from all of the other boards I've covered on my channel so far. It is so different that there are a few important things you need to know to decide if this board is right for you. What are its strengths? What are its flaws? And does it even feel like a skateboard? Do you like premium power? Then you'll want to know about the EcoFlow DELTA Mini Portable Power Station. EcoFlow is a leading energy company that has developed portable, renewable power stations for use outdoors, at work, and at home. The EcoFlow DELTA Mini is an 882 watt-hour battery pack with an output of 1400 watts. It can be used to power the majority of electronics, even power-hungry appliances like microwaves and vacuum cleaners. This portable power station is packed with features. With EcoFlow's extreme technology, the DELTA Mini recharges from 0 to 80% in just 1 hour, or 0 to 100% in 1.6 hours. That's incredibly fast. For home and office use, the DELTA Mini can act as an emergency power supply in case of a power outage. And for outdoor use, you can recharge the DELTA Mini with solar panels. EcoFlow also has an app, which provides you with real-time info on power usage and charging status. As for myself, I look forward to using the EcoFlow DELTA Mini in my next uphill battle video to keep multiple electric skateboards topped up, just like we did earlier this year with the smaller capacity EcoFlow River Pro. I can also take the DELTA Mini with me for any outdoor activity so that everyone can charge their phones, cameras, water flossers, massagers, or whatever they need to charge wherever there's no power outlet. Save $100 on the EcoFlow DELTA Mini if you order before the end of this year. Click my referral link in the description. The Propel Endeavor comes in two models, the Endeavor S and the Endeavor Pro. The review unit that I have is the Pro, but I'll also talk about the differences of the two models. Unlike most other electric skateboards, the Propel Endeavor does not use skateboard trucks. It uses a suspension system that resembles what you might find on a car. But the difference from a car and the similarity with a skateboard is that you steer by leaning left and right with your body. So, why did Propel go with control arms and coilover shocks like a car instead of the various types of longboard trucks or even mountain board trucks? What are the benefits? The biggest advantage of the Endeavor's independent suspension is the stability. Instead of bouncing around on uneven terrain because of the left and right wheels sharing the same truck hangers, each of Endeavor's suspension arms absorbs bumps independently. This is great for off-road stability and also high-speed stability. The board's track width also contributes to its stability. The distance between the left and right wheels on most 2-in-1 all-terrain boards is about 270 millimeters. On the Endeavor, it's 395 millimeters. Another benefit of the Endeavor suspensions is the ride comfort. According to one of Propel's videos,
this board is the most comfortable skateboard you've ever ridden.
But exactly how comfortable is it relative to the more common 2-in-1 all-terrain boards that use pneumatic tires on skate trucks? I'll tell you my personal experience. Keep in mind that I'm about 75 kilograms and I kept the adjustable coilover shocks in their stock setup. On a typical asphalt road, I felt no difference in ride comfort between the Endeavor and the 2-in-1 all-terrain boards. And that's to be expected. Small road imperfections get absorbed by the pneumatic tires on both types of boards. On small and smooth tiles and even larger sidewalk tiles, I still don't really notice any difference in ride comfort. But once I get onto rougher and more uneven terrain, then I can start to notice that the Endeavor suspensions are absorbing some of those bumps. And the rougher the terrain, the more of a difference there is. I definitely felt more confident riding the Endeavor on uneven surfaces. Like I said before, I did not adjust the stiffness of the coilover shocks. Being in Shanghai, I have very little opportunity for off-roading, so I prefer to keep the shocks set up for road use. But if I wanted more comfort on rough terrain, I could adjust the shocks to be softer. But the comfort and stability of the Endeavor suspensions does come with a trade-off. The turn radius is quite large compared to other boards that I own. Getting around corners at intersections is not a problem at all. It's mainly an issue when I'm trying to maneuver around people or other stuff in tight spaces at very low speeds. And making U-turns would often require doing a 3-point turn. The turning force is adjustable, similar to loosening your skateboard trucks. But even when loosened up, the turn radius is still larger than that of my other boards. If this video has been informative so far, do me a favor and hit the like button. The The stock wheels that come on the Endeavor Pro and S are the 8-inch pneumatics with knobby treads. The 7-inch wheels for street use are available as a separate purchase. Obviously, the 8-inch wheels are more appropriate for off-road situations, and the 7-inch wheels should have better performance on asphalt. By the way, you'll need a 17mm wrench to take the wheels off. A standard skate tool won't work. The Endeavor Pro's deck is made of carbon fiber, and the Endeavor S's deck is made of maple. According to Propel, they are not interchangeable. The design of this deck to me feels like it's made for standing with your feet perpendicular to the board, similar to mountain boards and snowboards. If you normally stand with your feet pointed more forward, you can brace your foot against that suspension arch thingy, but it gets uncomfortable after a while. On this board, I find myself turning my front foot more sideways than usual. The deck has finger wells underneath to make picking up the board slightly easier. They also help with grabbing the board when riding. Let's move on to the electronics. The Endeavor Pro uses a 1080 watt-hour battery pack, made up of Samsung 50G cells in a 12S 5P arrangement. And the Endeavor S uses a 648 watt-hour pack with the same cells in a 12S 3P arrangement. So the Pro has 40% more battery capacity than the S. In fact, the Endeavor Pro has a bigger battery than every other electric skateboard I've covered on my channel so far. For context, most other all-terrain electric skateboards nowadays have battery capacities of anywhere from around 500 to 900 watt-hours. The Endeavor Pro is the only board I have that surpasses 1000 watt-hours. I did an incomplete range test and rode 42 kilometers with roughly 35% battery remaining. Using those rough numbers, at 10% battery, I would have ridden about 58 kilometers. My weight was about 75 kilograms, the weather was about 20 degrees Celsius, and my ride was mostly on flat roads with a little bit of off-roading. Also, I was using the 7-inch wheels, not the 8-inch. Again, that was a very rough estimate. There are also a lot of variables that affect range, but the key takeaway is that the Endeavor Pro is among the longest range all-terrain boards on the market today. The board comes with a 5-amp charger, so charging the Pro's 25 amp hour battery from empty to full should take about 6 hours, and the S's 15 amp hour battery in about 4 hours. The motor size is 6374 on both the Endeavor Pro and Endeavor S. Visually, they look just like the Dongxingwei 6374 motors I've seen on another board. I don't really want to talk about output rating because that number doesn't really matter, but in this case, I like how Propel worded the rating. Each motor has a maximum theoretical output of 3000 watts. Maximum theoretical output. That's a much better way of putting it than simply calling this a 6000 watt board. But again, this number doesn't even matter. To support my point, on the Endeavor's own product page, it says 3000 watts per motor in the specs table, but if you scroll down a bit, it says 1500 watts per motor. This number is literally meaningless. But in any case, as far as I know, 6374 motors are the biggest motors used on mass production electric skateboards today. The Endeavor Pro uses a VESC-based speed controller, or ESC, made by FlipSky, and the Endeavor S uses a Ling-E speed controller. The speed controller of the Pro comes in two options, VESC 4 and VESC 6. The VESC 6 option costs $100 more, but out of the box, the performance of the two versions should be exactly the same. The VESC 6 option may be more appropriate for people who are familiar with VESC and want to tinker with the board. The acceleration on the Pro is very strong once you get moving. From a standstill compared to some of the other powerful boards today, it's a little more gentle on takeoff, which is totally fine by me. If you're a heavier person, I assume it might feel more sluggish on takeoff, but it also depends on what you're used to. The brakes on the Pro are also very strong, and the brake control is a little bit too sensitive in my opinion. If you want to brake gently, you have to really ease into pulling back on the control wheel. A nice feature on the Pro is if you continue to brake when you're at a complete stop, the board slowly moves in reverse. The remote on the Endeavor Pro is a customized FlipSky VX2 Pro. It's a nice remote with a display in the middle, making it good for both right-handed and left-handed use. The display shows battery indicators for both the board and the remote, your speed, distance traveled, etc. You can also set the gearing and wheel size to get accurate measurements if you change those parts. I've been talking about the ESC on the Endeavor Pro so far. As for the Endeavor S, I haven't tried it, so I can only speculate about how it performs compared to the Pro based on the specs. The Pro's ESC can draw up to 65 amps of current, while on the S it's 35 amps. And the Pro's battery is 5P while the S is 3P. So in theory, the Endeavor Pro should be able to accelerate noticeably harder than the Endeavor S. Even though the S is lower tier than the Pro, it does have one notable advantage, aside from price, which is that you can turn the board on by just pushing the board a bit, while on the Pro, you have to press a button. I should mention though, since the button is on top and it does not require a long press to turn on or off, I don't actually mind pressing it. I never thought about it until now, but I think I really don't like long pressing a power button. Imagine if liking a video required long pressing the like button. You'd never press the button. Fortunately, it's just a quick tap, so tap that. Still, some kind of smart turn on or standby mode for the Pro would have been nice. The remote for the Endeavor S, as far as I can tell, is the common Lingy remote with a display. Like most remotes, it's made for right-handed use. Again, I've never tried the Endeavor S, so I won't say too much about that. Portability, dun dun dun. This is where Propel thinks I'm going to take issue with this board, and they're right. This board is heavy. According to Propel's website, the Pro is 19.5 kilograms and the S is 17 kilograms. To put that in context, the 12S3P Endeavor S has a smaller battery than the 12S4P 2-in-1 all-terrain boards, but it's still a couple kilograms heavier. And the Endeavor S is about the same weight as the LaCroix Nazare, but the Nazare has a 12S5P battery. The Endeavor Pro also has a 12S5P battery, but it's about 2 kilograms heavier than the Nazare. So how has the weight of the Endeavor affected its portability for me personally? Compared to other boards, it's not very easy to pull, not just because of the weight, but also because there's not really a good way to grab it. With skateboard trucks, the truck hanger naturally becomes a handle, but on the Endeavor, you grab the front suspension parts, which is not very comfortable. The front of my building has some stairs. Normally, I would pick up the board there, but with the Endeavor, I just carefully pull it down. And when I come back, I use the wheelchair ramp. It's not that I can't pick up 20 kilograms, okay? I just would rather not. I'm not sure if I can bring this board onto the subway here, but I'm pretty sure I can't. Technically, we're not supposed to bring on electric vehicles, but I've only been stopped a couple times with electric skateboards. I'm pretty sure the subway staff would consider the Endeavor a very small car rather than a large skateboard. Besides, we're also not allowed to ride in the subway station, so I'd have to pull it to the platform and onto the train. I'd rather not do that with this board, especially since not every station here has escalators. In crowded spaces with other boards, sometimes I push them like normal skateboards. That's just easier sometimes. But with the Endeavor, because it's so wide, my foot would hit the back wheel when I push. Fortunately, the Endeavor is small enough to fit inside the trunk of a car. It's actually a little shorter than the typical 2-in-1 all-terrain board. And for additional context, the Endeavor Pro is still much more portable than something like the Propel X4S and the various Baja boards. The Endeavor doesn't really require more maintenance than most other electric skateboards, but it does require a different set of tools. For most other electric skateboards, you can take them apart and put them back with just a standard skate tool and a 3mm hex key. On the Endeavor, from what I can see, you'll need a 17mm wrench, a 13mm wrench, and hex keys in sizes 2.5, 3, 4, and 5mm. Your standard skate tool would not be useful on the Endeavor. As a general rule, just like any other board, you should regularly do a visual inspection to make sure all the fasteners are still there and still snug. That does take longer on the Endeavor because there are quite a few more screws, but we're talking about like maybe 20 seconds on this board versus around 10 seconds on other boards. It's not a big difference. Again, I have the Endeavor Pro, not the S, so I'll be talking about the appearance of the Pro. This is one of the best looking boards that I have. The emblems look great. I really like the power button. I like the chrome rivets. They give it a retro look. With most other boards, I can find areas where they cut corners. Things like zip ties, cheap cables, charge port covers. This board is one of the few exceptions where everything looks well designed. If I were to nitpick, I would point out that the white line that runs down the center of this board isn't actually centered, at least not on my unit, but you'd have to be kind of crazy to notice that. Overall, in terms of appearance, it's a good looking little car. Propel says that they are actively growing their after-sales system. For the US, they have a service center in Florida, and they are looking for reliable local service partners. I know they have a Facebook group that's quite active. They also have the Propel Virtual Garage, which is a YouTube channel that holds Propel's tutorial videos. They cover topics like how to change tires and how to replace belts. I personally would like to see a video where they talk about adjusting the turning force, because the board was quite difficult to turn before I loosened it up. Should I make the back tighter than the front? And how do I make sure the left and right sides are even? Those are a couple questions that I hope they cover. Endeavor. There's another thing I want to point out about Propel that indirectly relates to their after sale. Communication with Propel has been very easy for me. With most of the e-skate brands I've covered, because they don't have native English speakers who are part of the core teams, communication with them has sometimes had their frustrating moments. But with Propel, I almost forget that they're headquartered in China. I don't know what their customer service will be like once they have a lot more customers and need more support staff, but I hope they continue to have fluent English language support. Communication with them has always felt very professional, and I always felt like I was speaking with someone who knew the product inside and out. I hope they keep that up. If we put the Endeavor on a diagram where the lightest and most portable boards are on the far left, and the heaviest and most off-road capable boards on the far right, the Endeavor would sit between the 2-in-1 all-terrain boards and the much more serious all-terrain boards like the X4S. Compared to the 2-in-1 boards, the Endeavor is less portable, less nimble, but more stable and better at off-roading. So whether or not this board is for you depends on your priorities. A better comparison is possibly the LaCroix Nazare, which is more similar in its dimensions and battery size, and also uses a VESC-based ESC. But I've never tried that board, so I really can't say how similar or different the ride is. I can, however, point out the huge difference in price, which is one of the Endeavor's strong selling points. For what this board offers and compared to other off-roading options, I think both the Endeavor Pro and S are a great value, as long as they fit your priorities. Despite being far from the most suitable board for my environment, I really like the Endeavor because it's a well-made, specialized board. Rather than being a board that tries to be everything for everyone, it makes appropriate sacrifices in portability and nimbleness to become a board that's very stable, very long range, and very off-road capable. It's not great for riding in Shanghai, where I currently live, but I imagine it could be great in a US suburb where it's a lot less crowded and you generally need to use a car to go somewhere. It's also great for people who want something that's truly off-road capable, but don't want something as large as a Propel X4S. Like any specialized board, the Endeavor is not for everyone, but it may be perfect for some. Maybe you. If you want to get this board, you can get a discount and support my channel at the same time by using my discount code, DKwan. And just a reminder, the like button for this video does not require a long press, so tap that.